Hi everyone, Tiro here, and this is a segment that I'm gonna be calling One Die to Rule Them All. Imaginative. I know, I'm so creative. But in this segment, or in this series, I guess, I will be telling you stories about my various D&D games and games from other systems because I don't want to tie myself to just one system. For the first story, I have a story that is kind of tied into D&D but uses a bit of a different system. It uses a game called The Eternal Grind Cafe, which I will be linking down below. And in this game, the players or their characters are kind of, let's say, isekai'd into a cafe in hell where they have to work for a minimum wage in order to get out. They have pissed off the gods so much that the gods just decided to snap them into hell, and now they're working in this cafe. The system is really simple. There are only 2 tracks that the players need to follow, and they range from 0 to 6, and this is also the only dice that they need to roll, a d6. No matter what they want to do, it's a d6 roll. And if you're wondering what the hell happens in this game, well, the GM, that would be me in this case, has to roleplay scenarios with customers. And based on how well the players do, they get paid, they get tipped. And based on how much money they have at the end of the day, they may or may not have bought their freedom back. Now, this game comes with 20 ideas for customers, but you can also definitely go and make up your own. In my case, I have not been a DM or a GM for a while, so I wanted to play this to brush up on my, improv skills, let's say. Plus, I really like a good roleplay session, and this was more or less entirely roleplay based, entirely talk based. Not that there weren't times where people didn't fight, there were. One moment that is stuck in my memory is when one of my players, who was playing an orc, tried to kill the food inspector who wanted to close them down because they had a gremlin in the back. And said gremlin, he got into the coffee stash and it really wasn't pretty. There is a story behind that gremlin, but the food inspector really did not want to hear any of it. So the orc rolled to kill him. He did not roll above a 4, and therefore it turned out that the food inspector wasn't just a food inspector. He was the food inspector, the god of food inspection, if you will. And so the orc ended up taking this fight outside where the rest of the customers were. And long story short, they ended up just destroying one side of the wall of the building, which definitely wasn't amusing to Lucifer, who owned the shop. Another really great moment that stuck out was when a vampire and a very young looking woman stepped into the shop. Well, the vampire was over 100 years old and the date was younger, like I set her in her 30s. And she wanted to slip in holy water into the vampire's coffee so that she would get all of his money, which was a good plan, given that she wasn't actually willingly married to him. She was sold off to him. And so her plan was to, poison him, essentially. And shout out to the elf who was a girl's girl and actually complied with her request, which was then the elf's ticket to getting out of hell by the end of it. It was just a really fun and chaotic session. I definitely recommend this to any DM or GM who wants to have some downtime with their party, or just as a fun one-shot that has nothing to do with the campaign, because it was a lot of fun. Just really a lot of fun. And I hope that you will go forth, have a fun adventure, and may the dice always roll in your favor.